I just cannot help but be, like sometimes I have these fanboys with this game, but it's just so awesome the way the narrator integrates with what's happening. It's
Yeah.
just it's mind-blowingly good.
There he is
There's
again.
your friend.
There's Mus. Hello, Mus.
It's basically the
You're gonna
same.
follow me back home? Come with me.
It's basically a more epic version of sports commentary in sports games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not easy to integrate well with
Yeah.
with actions you take and make it without interrupting.
So,
For example, if you do an action
what time are we
and he
on?
starts narrating, and then you do another action, then the previous narration stops.
The monuments
Yeah.
calling for
And that's sometimes a bit, annoying.
Rabbit hoods.
it. The windbags used to be alright. Then the calamity took the floor out from under them.
So Mus is there now, yay!
Oh, come on, give me a hug.
See,
Give me a hug.
they used to be fine.
Oh,
Yay!
now we're friends. I love this.
Oh, the sound, do it again.
Come on, give the little tiger a break.
Yes. Nice.
Yeah,
See,
see, the
is it
narrator
not-
is telling you to calm down.
It's,
How
yeah,
awesome is that?
it's my own puppy. I just.
Oh, there's
I just get
stuff
so
down
excited.
there, down south.
Down,
Yeah.
down south. Go down, down, down. All right.
The exclamation mark to the left now.
To the left. What the hell
Yeah,
do you see an exclamation mark? I
Yeah,
really need
left,
to.
left there.
Oh, but I can switch out my my gear here. So all right, for crying. The breaker bow. If I die now, it's going to be
A bow and a machete, every bit as effective as the fancier stuff.
fancier stuff. It doesn't get much fancier than machete. Oh, I love the machete. All right. Where should I go now? Okay, but I got a core, but I don't get to build anything new.
Maybe you need more cores for the next building.
Did you place the call on the?
Oh, you need to put it in the middle again.
The
It's glowing.
monument.
Oh,
It's like
Yeah. There you go.
Only fair he
I
decides
need two
to
narrators,
pick
you know.
one.
I need one for the story. All right, let's build something.
okay, you can choose for. Oh, that's the upgrade thing.
But especially good
Yeah, you
spirits.
need to decide.
Well, I will go for a distillery. You know, I got an arsenal. I need some drink too.
Makes time to sample spirits from my personal supply.
Personal supply. There we go.
There you go. Now you choose.
Hardy punch to carry on if defeated. Oh, I like that. Critical hit chance. Plus 100% critical hit. The best.
Yeah,
I
but-
always do a critical hit then.
Yeah, but only when below 33% health.
Well, that happens to me quite often. So that will be a good one.
What's the rest? Speed while
Speed while defending.
Yeah.
No, I don't need speed. I don't defend.
And
so
what's
I'll just-
fetching fizz?
Fetching fizz. I already got that. That's my archaeological.
Yeah, that's what you got now.
Okay, and what's the rest of it? Did you read all the rest? Dreadroom? What's that?
You're one of those. This is a Texas game, man. We don't need to read everything. No, that's nice. But I'm gonna go for the where whiskey. I'm just gonna.
Just
Yeah,
because it's a
crit.
whiskey.
I'm just
Where
yeah.
whiskey has no scent, but tastes like a peppered boot heel. It's not for everyone.
That is
It's like not.
that is some good. That's some good stuff there. It has no scent. A peppered boot heel. That's something else. Now I'm actually kind of wanting to try out a peppered boot heel.
So it's not a use.
No, it's a
It's
permanent.
it's a
it's
permanent
passive,
equip. It's passive. That's
Picked up
great.
traces of
I
the
like
core
passive.
block.
Yeah, me too.
So that's where you are, and then that's a
Core
core is
detective
there.
and then the melting pot. Core detective. Let's somewhere else.
Yeah, just
All right.
go
So
wherever
let's
you
go
want.
over there.
So the ones you've done are the ones with the star, the black ones.
All right. So play for like
In
10 more
better
minutes.
days, the melting pot was sealed tight
Got
in
a
a
small
skin
recap.
somewhere.
Yeah.
Of all the plans to survive.
You just wanna play. You don't wanna get serious about it. All right.
Blasted things hurt like a broken heart.
I like the aim trigger.
It's hard to see the little arrows.
If there's a core, he figures it ought to be deeper down.
I just go walk next to it. It's broken.
It's yeah. I always better save this over here.
It cuts down every stab weed like there's gonna be a prize for it. Stuck inside one of those fancy
One of
cages.
my prizes.
Isn't that so awesome?
That is
It narrates this kind, like it narrates whatever you do.
Eye for detail, huh? That's you know make something out of little things. That is
So the core is there. You need to do something.
yeah.
Trip mine.
Some of the stuff lying around is downright dangerous.
But, oh no.
Yeah, you can use a trip mine.
Yeah, but I wanted to.
Come on, try it.
I want my puppy back. So I'm probably this now is I just detonate again with the archaeological.
No, you just place them.
And you lose a black
And
potion.
you use a black potion for that.
Yeah, of
It's
course,
really-
of course.
it's really good.
Yeah.
Switch.
He throws a switch. Now what could possibly go wrong?
Nothing.
Well.
I'll just stay here. Stay with
Quite a
you.
bit, as it turns out.
Yes.
The cage starts lifting from the core ever so slow.
It's good.
All Kid can do is wait. Shipments start falling in.
Oh, there we go. The mines. The mines blew up.
Not every
Another
screw's
one like in the middle or
This
something.
guy's friendly.
Kids
Oh, that's
Shit,
nice.
you do.
judging by the movement of the cage, it's gonna take a little while.
Chaotic.
Put a mine down. Maybe if one walks over, then the rest will explode and lure him through.
Yeah, it's an AoE down.
Come on. Blow up.
There we go. Well, it's okay.
You need to. You can do it.
Scumbags don't take kindly to interlopers.
Slow effects.
Can you still whirl them?
No, that's
No,
not gone
That's
now.
the hammer.
Yeah, we do.
Even some gas fellas take his
Oh,
car.
wow, I'm getting some help here.
Yeah, something.
And of course, the stream is rooting for me too. Like, hey, guys, stop the red, you're the
At
best.
this rate, maybe 5 more minutes, maybe 30. Hard to tell.
As the narrator says, 5 more minutes and then we'll start chatting.
Squirts get real territorial around the core. Then a shipment of free samples shows up.
Ooh, samples, mines. Just pop 3 mines around. Oh, they're like monkey bombs.
Monkey bomb.
Yeah, in Call of Duty Zombies, you pop a monkey bomb and they walk. All the zombies walk towards it. You go bam. You pop a grenade in. Those are awesome. You're doing pretty well.
That's a troublesome scene to be sure.
Yeah, just don't go close to this flame.
Let's bring the Persia style music.
The music is the best. And it's too bad we don't have the time to go into the parts of the game where you can hear
Moments
battles
left.
playing because
Or
it's
goes
also
free.
very, very
10,
good.
9, 8, 7.
Another
Count
mine.
the countdown.
Mine.
Kill! The core, almost. Go, grab the core. Go.
He's got it. Just gotta get to the nearest barge.
What?
The other one.
The other.
Oh, the other way. Oh, this is good.
Run.
No?
Right.
No.
There you go. Ah, the nearest bar.
Oh my god, that was
What?
intense.
I mean,
What a perfect time to stop.
the story needs a good ending, and that's probably a good ending.
Yeah, let's just put the.
I'm
let's
putting
just
on
put
a-
the money
yeah,
in the
Put in
box.
another building and then
I'll place the core.
Yeah,
You will
And then maybe go for a little
No,
challenge.
no,
and
no.
then...
Just place the core.
Alright.
I still remember the look on his face after that one.
Alright. I'm just to please Iris, I'll place the core.
The old world's finished, but the new world's just getting started.
And that's nice. Those are final nice parting words. So
Okay.
I'm just gonna put it on pause.
Yep.
And should I?
building.
Building, please.
You put the building in. That's the least you can do. You just put
Oh.
a core in.
Just put the building in
I'll
the
just just put
the
the
main
building
menu.
in. I'll just put it in right there.
The
Where
Bastion ain't
actually-
gonna build itself.
Well, no,
Well,
where is it
I'll
at?
die.
Where's my empty
The
slot?
blue hammer, yeah.
And a
There you go,
forge.
a
There
forge.
we are.
Okay, just go
Alright.
to the main menu.
Yeah.
To the main menu. Alright.
We should like ask in the comments and ask in the YouTube video afterwards if people want us to play more of games as well sometimes. You know, then we can just stop here and play on for the next time.
Sure.
So one of the questions we got on our Facebook event was, what does this have to do with archaeology?
Ah,
And how would this be different than an Indiana Jones movie? So what does this have to do with archaeology?
that's a good question.
So yeah, let's address this because
So you were the one who was bringing this game up. So what do you think this has to do with archaeology?
yeah, so that when I played this game for the first time, it struck me for its like authenticity mainly, and it struck me for-
Authenticity to what?
authenticity to how the story is being told through an interactive media as the video games.
Yeah.
So as we were discussing video games and narration and storytelling in general, not only of course archaeology, but storytelling in general, if you play Bastion, it's an experience you probably never had before in the way that the story is being told. Now, one of the things that we do as archaeologists is tell stories, even if they are scientifically correct stories, they are still stories. And I really wanted to think and discuss and see how this concept of live narration can be integrated into
How can you live narrate archaeology?
Archaeology on the field. Yeah, I don't think you can live narrate, but let's think first on a more simpler concept like a museum. If you move forward on a museum, you very often have,
Tiny pause. Could you just do the sound settings of the game itself?
Sure.
While we do the discussion, just lower the...
yeah.
Sure. And we'll keep on talking.
Yeah.
You
So-
were making a
About the museums.
So on the museum, as you walk, very often they have these headsets where they just explain you stuff about the museum and about the finds and whatever. And generally these are very boring
yeah.
because they are never focused. Even if the museum is built around it's linear or if it has a story that you walk through, even then they rarely implement a story that you hear as you walk. You just go and you're like, I am on find 53, press the button.
Yeah.
So, as an experience, I assume that if people could hear and experience the story as they go on in a museum and listen to it at the same time, it would be.
Well, I mean, you already have that with audio guides, right?
Yeah, but the audio guides are usually very generic. They
I
are
have
not-
to say that one of the museums I like best in the UK is the Roman Baths Museum in Bath. I go there very often because we have family there. There you have audio guides that you've got one for kids, you've got one with Stephen Fry, you've got one with an archaeologist, actually the guy who first sort of is really sort of the main archaeologist of that, and lots of different voices there. So that's maybe a little bit like your
Yeah.
But I give Addis's point in the sense that a lot of the times, because the way most museum experiences are set up is that you can pick and choose what you look through and which order, sort of, right? You don't necessarily have to follow the same line and visit every single object. So you can go and say, oh, I like that thing I see over there. This is number 14. I'll listen to number 14.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take you on a journey. So it's not as if you put on a headset and you press start and it says, well, if you start looking to the left, then you will see this and this and this, more details about that. Now if we cross the room, etc. Because you have actually really innovative things that are being done with audio city tours, in which you actually have to follow the guide and walk in certain directions, do certain activities in certain places, but it's still kind of being experimented with.
I think the example of the thing we did in the Moosgat Museum is really good, with the blindfold thing and the headset, where you basically get guided around blindly on the wall. There's like this, it's the bribe principle where you just follow a guide of like copper little knobs until you get at relief statuettes, and the audio guide feels where you are. So wherever you arrive at a statuette, for example, if it's a wolf or something, it'll start roaring and stuff like that, and then it'll start explaining this is the wolf of this, and
It's
it
actually
gives.
so.
It's really immersive.
To give this an archaeological setting, this is at a museum that in Denmark, in Aarhus, the Musgård Museum, and they have this amazing cauldron in Denmark with these reliefs. And a lot of times you look at this silver cauldron and you think, oh, that looks cool, but you don't really interact with the various sort of mythological creatures on it. Now, what they did here is, so you have this helmet, you don't see anything, you just hear the guide, and it tells you to start following the wall. And then you get to the first creature, and it's like, explore what you're feeling. Feel the tail, feel the sharp teeth, and then you have to try to imagine. It's actually really hard to recognize animals just from this touch. And then it explains like what you're feeling now is like an eagle's body with a lion's head, or the other way around. And it tells this whole story of the mythology that's in these reliefs of this archaeological find in a way that you otherwise wouldn't.
Yeah, you wouldn't know about, for example, the cow that's lying on the bottom of the cauldron, so that when it's filled you don't really see it, but when it's empty you see it's actually in the bottom, and you wouldn't know. You're just like, oh, that's a nice cauldron. Oh, there's a cow in the middle. Why is that? You wouldn't know if you didn't do that guide.
Yeah,
it explains you step by step, and it builds up to that.
But so that's the step-by-step thing is what I also really liked about Bastion, is that really they take the story step by step by step. And I sometimes think that we don't do that enough as archaeologists, but we even in our story writing, or articles or communications to the to more popular media or audiences. We don't really take things step by step by step. One book that I really like when you have step by step is Ancient Cahokia by Timothy Pocket. That he really sort of takes you through. First, he takes you in written form, sort of on your way to the Cahokia, to the ancient city of Cahokia. And sort of he gets you there, and then he starts talking about what you would see there if you arrive there. It's a bit like Bastion there. So I think it's possible to be a bit more creative with this as archaeologists in writing as well.
Yeah.
You were saying.
So what I want to say here is that what we're discussing mainly is video games and archaeology here, right? And storytelling. So Bastion so far has shown us an innovative way in storytelling in general. It's like video games provide a new platform where you can say stories. Like you can use all the the normal methods of storytelling, but Bastion shows you play within history, because you're building the world around you and you're learning stuff about your world, but at the same time you're also living your story. So it's these separate stories going on at the same time, but they integrate very well together. How can we see that? The question is if that kind of innovative storytelling is possible in a game which is related to archaeology and history. So let's think about Valiant Hearts, which is a recent example. How awesome would it be that, for example, when we had the master class in Valiant Hearts, you went there and you would see, and it was very well presented, because you would go there and die the first time, you didn't really know. But then it just said, if you want to know more stuff about it, just press and read a small textbook about Mastercard, which is fine in some sense, but if there was a narrator on top of that, and it would also actually explain what you're doing at that time and inform you about the Mastercard, it would provide a more holistic experience about the world and about what's happening. And if that's an open world, so if you have an archaeological field within a game, and move around the city, like if you're in a game and you're in the city of Rome and you move around, if you just go on a public building and it's just a wall of text, you're probably never gonna read it. But if you narrate that, if you make people feel like they are actually integrating and things happening because of them.
Yeah.
It
That
breaks
makes
the
me-
gameplay less if you do it like that, you
Yeah.
know? You just keep on playing, and in the meantime, it's like we're playing, and at the same time, we're narrating here on the couch, commenting on the game. It would be nice if it would actually do that in the game, so you could just keep on playing.
It's true. It is, for example, Assassin's Creed, which we'll probably look at in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
That really is. It is. I like reading those database entries, but I always sort of save them up for like a quiet point in the game, and you just then start reading off through all of them. It would be nice if you did not the whole thing. You don't want to read.
You don't want to listen too much because you also have to play.
Yeah, but just like a little like. Bam! You're now at this building with this. With it is this. It's what you.
But how annoying would it be if the voice would be poorly chosen? Because we're really lucky on this voice cast.
Yes.
I mean, this guy is like really good at what he does.
Yeah.
But how annoying would it be if it's like some squeaky voice, I don't know what?
Well,
Then you turn it off.
What I think is important when we think about archaeology and storytelling is that a lot of the times, sort of archaeology is split up into this series of events, right? You start planning, then there's excavation, data collection, then there's interpretation, and then way at the end somewhere there's dissemination of the information. And this is where most of the time people would think, well, we'll write an article, or we'll do an exhibition, or we'll blog about something. But the interesting thing is that if you think about it in this Bastion way, where you can narrate step by step the whole process, where you, for instance, start disseminating the information from the planning phase throughout the entire archaeological process, that's much more, inclusive and.
Yeah, that's the right term. I think the inclusive. It makes you feel
we can make
you are part of that.
We can make a little bit of a commercial here for common sites as well, because Crime, who also works with common sites, Megalithic, where he's right on there. I mean, I guess that's what they're sort of about, right? They are sort of trying to get people in on that first stage, the planning phase, where you haven't done the research yet, or maybe not all of the research, and then sort of take these stakeholders through the journey of that research that you're doing, that survey or that collection research or that excavation together.
Actually, I think, do we have any questions from the audience? Also, I was going to say this is exactly what they've done with the game Never Alone.
Yes.
Is where they've integrated the community from the first step, because it was the community's initiative that said, hey, we have a great story to tell. What do we do about this? You know what? Let's make a game. And it started there, and it's been a part of the entire process.
It basically starts with the story, and then they build a game around it. Whereas in a lot of other games, they focus on the gameplay and they put some story in it, and sometimes it's just.
And there's an interesting aspect that is sort of who is telling the story, and there Never Alone is of course very interesting. You want to go head into it and play? Or are there other questions?
Questions from the audience?
Questions or just random rants? I like those as well.
Do you guys think the creators consider archaeology when developing games like this, especially since we're considering the archaeological qualities? Are they there purposely or not?
That's a good question. I don't think the people from Bastion, what I've sort of understood from it, we had any sort of archaeological perspective in mind there. But of course, what they're doing is thoroughly archaeological. So it's very interesting to. And I'm not sure, because I haven't played the whole game, but what I've seen so far I really like. So I'm not even sure how they could have done better. But it would have been nice to sort of take a bit more archaeological procedural perspective to this.
Like what we were saying when
Explain a bit more about why you're even doing this, and why this world needs to be reconstructed. What is the value of this world?
Like we were talking while we were going through the game, is that in essence it's quite an archaeological sort of dilemma, because you have some kind of calamity, there's a destruction, and you're trying to sort of recreate the world. I mean, when you find a site or something like, let's say Pompeii, there's been a clear calamity, you're trying to reconstruct events, I mean, a lot of archaeology is about,
if you find a site, it has been abandoned most of the time anyway,
exactly.
So you're always trying to do that. If it's Pompeii
but
or if it's,
I doubt that
Bastion
had this archaeological perspective on purpose.
No, because I think what you're doing here is you're recreating the world I think there's a difference between trying to recreate the world on top of something that happened and trying to recreate the event that caused the thing to happen. I think there's a difference in those two.
But there also, I mean, I also think we're sort of trying to recreate what happened,
Yeah.
so make sure it never happens again, right? That's
Yeah,
sort of the impression I got. In that sense, it reminds me a bit of Transistor as well. We're also sort of awesome game as well. We made
No
this.
one, right? It's from the creators of Bastion.
Yes, yes, yeah.
But the thing is that from what we've seen in development as well, and from discussion we had with other game developers, they rarely, if ever, consider archaeology.
Yeah.
Even if they're making games.
Even if they're making them on archaeology,
yeah.
but they don't really sort of consider, definitely not the perspective that archaeologists bring to reconstructions of the past, or just the past in general. Which, you know, that's a battle we're all gonna fight. It's a good fight.
But that's what we want to do, right?
That's the worst example that you can have on that is like games like Tomb Raider and Uncharted that want to be super archaeological and in fact have no truth in most cases in them. And just complete fiction.
Well, I think they want to tell a good story, and that for that story they don't really care about the archaeological facts.
Exactly.
But there's probably should be a nice midway point between those. Want to switch to?
Let's switch to
Let's
Never
switch.
Alone.
So we're gonna go and
I'll switch to
we're actually
streams.
making Never Alone. We're gonna make it a romantic story as well, because this is going to be played by a couple. Our honorary member Vincent and Silla. All right.
Can you switch to games?
I